Dokie, I think we are live. I'm rolling a Twitter now just to see if I get a notification, and I did. Okay, we are live.
Yay.
Hello and welcome
Hi.
in, everybody. I'm Jay Cook, Alan Thomas. Alan, I forgot to change your name. While you're talking at some point, I'll change your name from the state of Louisville.
What does it
We'll also
say?
have, it just says the
Is
state of Louisville right now.
okay. Well, I'll answer that. That's fine. For now, you don't have to change it.
Mr. State of Louisville.
Yeah.
And
That's
then we've got Roman Kelly, who is
yeah.
in the process of getting a haircut
All
or
right.
is on the way from
Roman.
getting a haircut. So he'll be
Roman.
joining us.
Yeah,
He'll be
he's getting
joining us at some point.
faded up. I wish I'd have went with him, dude. I'm getting pretty scruffy. I'm having to do it myself, and it's just kind of you don't know all the angles. Like
Yeah.
you can't do it perfectly from your own mirror. I've tried thousands of times. I continue to try on and off again, but you can never get it right like some of these local barbers that like to charge a pretty penny, but they do it right. So
Yeah, the barber trim is always so much nicer. I can never get my line right. I feel like I look like I have like a double chin when I mess it
yeah,
up sometimes.
you go
So,
like this.
but
You're like you go. I do this, and then I'll side eye myself like over and over again. Then I'll take pictures of myself like this, and then I'll go out in public and I'm like, it's all fucked up. And then somebody will be like, oh, nice beard, like somebody like some old person, and I'm like, you old man, you made my day. I love you so much.
thank you.
It's just like,
It's all
yeah,
I
thank you
needed
so
to,
much.
to
That's all I
continue
needed.
on.
Yeah, my self
Yeah.
esteem. I can survive. I'm gonna live the rest of the day. So, um,
Yeah, literally. I have to ask my fiance. I get out of the bathroom and go show her, and she's like a little bit more, and then it's just like millimeters by millimeters, slowly getting it to where I think and hope that it's right.
mhm.
Alan, how have you been? I know Louisville football playing, not at its best, we don't think, but we've got
Yeah.
Louisville sports happening. The bye week took 92 days to happen, and we're finally back in the
Mm.
swing of things.
Right. I swear, everybody I've talked to is like, is it? Did we get two bye weeks or was it just one? I mean, it really felt like 2 weeks.
It felt like it.
I'm just at the point where, and literally today, actually, I didn't even think about it. We could have titled the live podcast this, but it's we are 1 month from Louisville basketball, and that is crazy because we're
Hey,
still in September. Like that's insane. I mean, it's not a real basketball game, but it is to me. It's very personal against Kansas this year, for multiple reasons, and we're going to get into a couple of them. So
yeah, yeah. I am thrilled. I can't. I think the football team will be solid. I don't know if they're going to reach the expectations that some had, but every loss that we have in football, though I don't want them to happen, just gets me a little bit more excited, a little bit more looking towards basketball, which is obviously our favorite things. But to kick off the
yeah,
show, we are going to start I guess, a three-part team breakdown. We'll do it by position. So forwards and wings are today, and then next week we'll try and hit probably bigs if I had to guess, and then last week, 2 weeks from now, we'll hit guards. I think that's the position group that people are most interested in. So we'll save the best for last.
yeah.
But before we get into roster previews, forwards and wings, and our breakdowns there, as always, lead the show off with a little bit of recruiting news since we are in the off season.
That's right.
I think the biggest news for Louisville basketball recruiting, it has to be Talon Kinney and him making his
Of
announcement
course.
this Sunday.
Hmm.
It's down to Louisville, Kansas, UK, Arkansas, Indiana, and Oregon. But it seems like it's Louisville or Kansas, with experts leading towards Kansas at this point, which was a change that
Yeah.
happened 3 to 4 weeks ago.
Money, money, money.
Yeah, we believe that is the case. Do you think there's any chance Joe Tipton and some of these other recruiting experts are wrong, or Louisville or Arkansas or any team comes in at the last second and flips them their way, or do you think this is a Kansas lock?
Well, sure. I mean, there's always a chance, and I'm not here to pump sunshine or anything like that. But just speaking of football, there was a kid last year. I think Wu Spencer, the kid that went to Male. He
Mhm.
was like hard lean to UK. Even the morning of, you had guys like Jody Demling. Not saying that he was never going to always flip, but you had guys like Jody or somebody else like that's local that was big at the time. Might have been Ty Spalding. Like it was somebody like that had like the grips, and that's no shade on Ty. He usually knew what was going on, and Jody too. But like literally 5 minutes before his commitment, people are like scrolling because this was personal because it was either UK or U of L, and he had flipped like that day. Like he may have flipped and just been playing with Kentucky. I don't know. Hopefully that's what's going on here. The little mouse in my brain would like to believe that, even though I don't. Alan, the actual operator of this brain and body, doesn't believe that. But that day with Wu Spencer, and that's only one particular instance. We've had players go the other way where we thought they were locks and stuff like that. College football, college basketball recruits. So there's always a possibility. It just with that recent Kansas money drop of whatever it
Hmm.
was, a billion fucking dollars or
A
something like
billion,
that,
yeah.
like something crazy. Yeah, it was like 300 million, literally like something crazy, like $300 million, like Apple money.
Hmm.
Just dropped it into Kansas, which it's one of those things. You see that, knowing that we're not going to pay 3-4 million for one kid, like it's just like you win, buddy. So if and it's not that's not me sour grapes saying like, oh, the only reason Kansas, one of the greatest traditions of all time, pulled this kid away was because of that, but probably a large portion of it this day and age. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's the name of the game for most people. So you can't. It can sound like sour grapes, but I think truly, if Talon would have chosen us or does choose us, money probably plays a large factor. Maybe we do end up offering more than Kansas or offering a competitive amount to where he decides to choose us. But I mean, when you're 18 years old and you're getting offered $2, 3, $4 million by one school, and then another school maybe you're only getting offered a million or 1.5 million, you're stupid to not take that money. So you can't
Yeah.
blame the kid at all. Chances, I'm similar to you. I'm probably 90-10 Kansas in my mind. There
Yeah.
are stories out there. Zion Williamson, I'm pretty sure everybody thought he was going to Clemson, like as of the day before or even like the night before. And then he flips to Duke. And so there are stories out there. These are
Yeah.
17, 18-year-old kids making decisions. So
Hmm.
things can change. Schools can be like, shit, you know what? We do want you. We do want to come and get you.
Hmm.
But I think we're kind of seeing with the staff targeting Darren Rippey a little bit more, Caden Magwood focusing on Josh Irving. Granted, he's a big man, but just kind of you're seeing more interest in some of these other lower ranked guys. So I think most likely we see him at Kansas. And it's gonna
Yeah.
suck because I think he's a phenomenal player. I'm not gonna bash the kid if he doesn't come to Louisville. I've loved him since I saw him at the King of Bluegrass tournament 2 years ago. He's incredible, and I hope he plays great. Just hope it's in Louisville, Red.
Right. No doubt. And it's it does suck because it is one of those things that this feels more like a scramble um, by Pat Kelsey and staff, where it kind of feels like like the names that we're hearing about aren't so and so really they got this person on the visit, they really liked it, and all of a sudden we're in their top four, kind of like some other players like Colvin Landry, which I know you were going to lead in with another recruit that everybody's been talking about for the past year, 2 years, or whatever, a kid that we thought was coming back home, that went out to California from Louisville, and that's Tyran Stokes. So what was the
Mhm.
latest update with him? I forget, like what just came out.
Yeah, so I wasn't able to get the article. I don't pay for the subscription, but thankfully some kind people on Twitter like to tweet out some of the article details. This was a UK fan who did it, so shout out to whoever that was. I can't remember. But
Oh,
Travis Branham, I think is who it was, came out
uh-huh.
with an article today and said that Tyron Stokes is a toss-up between three schools: Kentucky, Oregon, and Kansas to land him. Stokes just took a visit to USC and then also Oregon. And things have just been quiet between Stokes and Louisville. It seems like since August, basically. I know he
Yeah,
came in and did that back to school thing. Local
yeah,
media talked to him a little bit there, but since then we haven't really heard much. And from everything you've been seeing, it seems like Louisville isn't in the picture at all. Or if they are, they're a distant fourth team at this point, which is obviously disappointing because I know probably since Kenny Payne got hired, I was like, we're going to get Tyron Stokes once Kenny Payne comes here. And
yeah, yeah. It's one of those things like, yeah. I mean, from far away, we thought we were getting them. Blah blah. Everybody knows the story. Everybody has watched this so closely, and I think Louisville fans don't want to come out and say it. Like if I say it, it'll make it real, kind of thing. But being down to those three schools, the fan in me is just like wanting Oregon to get him because here's the thing. Excuse me. If he goes to Kentucky, like it's going to be so freaking personal. Like that is going to that is going to notch the rivalry up even more. If he goes to Kansas, it's one of those things like if you take two of our guys, like if you take both of them with your little quick money bag, monopoly money bags and stuff that you just dropped,
Mhm.
300 mil or whatever, something stupid. Like I'm going to make fun of you so bad. Like I think Kansas fans are going to really hate Louisville fans on social media if we end up winning that exhibition game. I don't care what plays you run. I don't care how much of the roster you guys use or we use, or if you just run your walk-ons the whole time, we win by 4 or 5. I don't care. Like I'm going to make fun of you because $300 million should secure you a 20-point win. And mind you, these are players coming in. But in my eyes, the money's already there, right? Like it's in my eyes, it's Kansas. We are just coming back to prominence. You guys have been here. So it just makes it a lot more personal. You could take one of those guys, even if it was just Kenny and Tyron Stokes went to Oregon or whatever, I would still take it personal. But if you get both, especially a kid that's from here, like I'm not going to hold it against him. I'm going to hold it against you, Kansas. I'm coming for you.
Yeah, no, I 100%. It would be so sad to think that 3 months ago we were sitting here thinking Taylon Kinney and Tyron Stokes and hopefully one or two other pieces are the crown jewels to our 2026 recruiting class, and then next thing you know, Kansas has them both. So hoping that's not the case. And one thing before we move off of Tyron Stokes, it does seem like I'm hearing myself in my own ears. Hello. Sorry about that, guys. I think we're good now. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Sorry about that. Yeah. One thing before we move off on Tyron Stokes, he's really private, super private. His mom has been the one who's been speaking to the media a little bit, but for the most part, you're not really getting a whole lot from Tyron Stokes' camp. Obviously, these insiders know something; they're hearing something. So not to say that there isn't truth to these reports, but I do think there's a little bit more mystery in this player. And if a shocking commitment comes out of a player, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a guy like Tyron Stokes. Last thing before we move on, Andrew did make a good point in the comments, talking about as long as we keep getting top transfers, okay with missing out on high school kids. Andrew, I agree with you.
Oh, yeah. Great point.
I think if you get 1 to 2, maybe 3 guys, like one Michael Brown with a Kanai Roots level player, and then a project like Mo Kamara, something like that, and then the rest is just transfers or guys that are here for a second, third, fourth, fifth year. I think that's the way that you build a consistently competitive roster. It's not spending $8 million on 2 top 10 players. That's not gonna if 80% of your roster money in the allocation is going to 2 freshmen, it's not the way that you're likely going to win in this day and age.
Yeah, and yeah, shout out Andrew, man. That's like I think in the back of my mind, I'm kind of like almost all the way in with you because like we forget, how fruitful the transfer portal has been for us. Just this year, you could talk even about last year and the revival year. A lot of those players could have looked at Louisville and been like, yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to pass. NIL or not, I just don't think, this could hurt my career. What if I go there and it's a complete shit show, So, yeah, great point by you. And we always love the comments and stuff like that. And anybody else who wants to comment, share your thoughts. We'll definitely make you part of the show. Excuse me.
Yeah, absolutely. As Alan is dying and has a black screen, it looks like I might need a second host on this show. So feel free to keep popping in comments. Just a few smaller notes before we move off. Those are the 2 big ones: Tyron Stokes, Taylon Kinney. They've been the biggest names, and every time that we come on here, it seems like there's a little bit more news. Josh Irving, lesser hyped recruit, still a top 50 guy, 6'10" center from California in the class of 2026. Really solid player, really athletic player, lob threat, rim protector, kind of that traditional big with a little bit of a perimeter game as well. He did just wrap up a visit with the Cardinals last week, and then there was also a report that Louisville is planning to send some coaches. Don't know if it's assistants, head coach, who it is, but Alan, you're contagious.
Right.
But we are planning to visit him as well in California. Also, Cameron Mercer, class of 2028 guy, so we won't spend a ton of time on him. He's the number 5 recruit in the class of 2028, so a very high-level recruit. He did take an unofficial visit on Saturday. And then Colbin Landrew, Kelsey, and 2 assistants went in to see him this week, I believe. This week, I believe, or last week. And they were the only school of any to send multiple coaches and recruits. Landry, we've talked about a little bit, was a top 70 guy, jumped into the top 20 recently. I think we've seen that since we've kind of fallen lower on the totem pole with Talon Kinney and Terrence Stokes, we are rising on the totem pole with some of these guys like Landry and Josh Irving.
Yeah, I agree. Can you see me now at all? Can you see
I
me?
cannot. You are a black screen.
That's crazy. It's crazy because I can see myself and like I'm just sitting here moving and stuff. You can't see me. But yeah, just real quick about Landry. I mean, I would really hate to be a school that if Tyron Stokes is pivoting away from your school and you have not had a backup plan already and you haven't been visiting a kid that was that immediately that had already visited a couple of years ago to your school for football. I think you would be in a really bad spot and in just a weird predicament if you didn't have that kid in your back pocket. And I'm not saying we're getting Colvin Landry. I'm not saying that at all. But to be immediately in his top 4 or 5 after pivoting away from Tyron Stokes, a player that's very familiar. I mean, very familiar with that style of game that Tyron Stokes, kind of a bully ball, just a physical kid. We kind of talked about him on the last podcast, or maybe it's the one before that. But yeah, I mean, you can't go wrong. I commend Pat Kelsey for just being, it's kind of the next man up on the recruiting trail. I'm gonna see if I
Yeah,
can
I
fix
mean,
this screen.
actually, Jacob texted us. He said that you can be seen. It may just be here in our little recording studio area that I can't
Okay,
see you, but Jacob said that you are good. So don't do
so
anything
that means
weird because apparently.
everybody that's watching was watching me pick my nose this entire time. That's great. Awesome.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. So I mean, like you said though, having to pivot to Colvin Landry, number 16 in the class after a really really solid summer, it's not the worst backup plan to have. Definitely. So also one thing before we move off of recruiting, I know Anthony commented mentioning Caden Magwood. If I did mention him, I didn't mean to. I know he's been on some people's minds as a
Yeah.
potential transfer away from Auburn. So Anthony, I'm glad you brought it up because it is something to mention. Louisville has some scholarship availability. I do believe we've only, as far as I'm aware, got 13 scholarship guys, and there's now for the next 30 days, any player on Auburn has an opportunity to transfer away since Bruce Pearl is gone. Caden
Yeah.
Magwood, a Louisville kid, was recruited by Charleston whenever PK was there, was recruited by Louisville whenever PK came here.
Coach
So a guy
Carr.
that
Yeah.
that we are familiar with. So there's a possibility there, and I certainly wouldn't take a former
Yeah.
top 40 recruit in the class. But as far as I'm aware, I haven't heard any connections. Alan, have you heard anything when it comes to Magwood?
Not at all. And I actually put something on Twitter last night because I dug through the entire roster like a dork. That's what I do. And I'm kind of combing through and going through. I went through the entire recruiting history of all these guys and who reached out, whatever, and who was actually, a high recruit. Who like some of these kids are really high JUCO players that only heard from Coach Pearl, and he was just kind of, that was the route he wanted to go. So I think he had a nose for athletes. I'm not going to knock that route at all. Um, Obviously, Jay Scrub, kids like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, somebody sorry, I'm spacing who commented. If you're watching this and you're the one that commented this, let me know. But they were pretty much like, "LOL, there's no chance he comes here. I can guarantee it." So there are people I think that know the family and know the situation that are kind of just pretty much being like, "Yeah, it's just not a thing. It's not happening. Either he's staying in Auburn or he's not coming to Louisville. Whatever. So that's
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, and I did, Louisville's roster is pretty
Yeah,
full. I mean, I
yeah.
guess the position he plays forward guard, you could see. I guess if there's any holes or any spots for a few minutes, could be there. But to me, it doesn't make sense to.
Hmm.
You've been with the program for 5 6 months now. Very difficult in general to transfer to a school a month before the season starts,
Uh
particularly a
huh.
school that's got as competitive as a roster as Louisville. So we'd love to
Yeah.
have him. I cannot imagine that he ends up choosing Louisville. Honestly, I doubt that he leaves Auburn in general. That's a tough situation to leave so close to the start of the season. But that is
Sure.
it for recruiting talk. We are now on to the first part of our roster breakdown. Starting with
Hmm.
what Alan, you and I spoke about it. Probably the least heralded of the three groups. You got guards, you got forwards, you got bigs. We're going to start with the forwards and the wings.
Yeah. Wings.
And it's and it's not that these guys are not talented. It's not that there's there's not some returning players that we're excited about, some new faces that we're not excited about. It's just that I think the guards are so hyped up, and the bigs are so hyped up as well. So to no fault of their own whatsoever. But Alan, before we get into the individual guys, we've got three players that we're going to talk about today: Javon Hadley, Kenai Ruths, and then Muhammad Kamara. What are your just overall general thoughts about this position group? Would you rate it amazing, 10 out of 10, or terrible? I'm terrified of the wings that we have in this team, rated a 1. What is your general feeling about this position group?
Well, first of all, we could break down wings, every single week, and we could call it, breaking down wings or like rating wings. And if you are a local company that sells chicken wings, you could really have an opportunity here to make a lot of money on this podcast if you just, let us promote your chicken wings. So, but anyway, beside the point, earlier we were kind of shooting back and forth, like, do we want to do wings or forwards or whatever? And I was kind of quick with the realization. Like, it took me a minute to be like, wait a minute, how many like pure true wings do we actually have, right? And so, like, if you on some teams, maybe Case and Pryor could be seen as a wing. I think he shoots it a little bit too well for as tall as he is to be considered a wing. You could be a stretch four. Like, I mean, he kind of fits in a couple of categories because of the way he handles the ball and things like that. Just kind of like a goofy character out there, really. I mean, really amazing. It's my guy, Case and Pryor. But the one true wing and pure actual wing that we have is Kenai Ruths, in my opinion. Just a guy like, top tier athleticism, has a ceiling, is willing to go dunk the ball whenever. So many highlights last year of him, and I'm going to get into why I think he was fearless. It was him coming down the lane, just trying to cram on anybody. And he was successful a few times in conference and out of conference. That takes a lot of guts. Overall, the wings, forwards, what have you, obviously, you can sit here and say PGU, guard you, what have you. If we're going to go 1 through 10, I'm going to right now, just without trying to be hyperbolic, go 9 out of 10 with guards. Right, you could do that with the bigs. You could say 9 out of 10. Right, we can get into that on a different episode because we have tons of thoughts. You, myself, Roman, and the whole gang have talked about this. As far as wings, I think there's a little bit. I want to see Kenai Ruth's ceiling in with my eyes. Like, I want to see the ceiling materialize, and I think we all know it's there. A lot of people are high on him. I'm disappointed that Roman's not in with us because this is a guy that I probably wouldn't even talk about. I would just let him go because he has lots of angles and things to say about specifically him over other players. So I think he's kind of the catalyst for how I would rate them at the end of the year. But like off the cuff, preseason, you're probably looking at like 7 out of 10, right? And I mean that's pretty damn good. But I think you need to be at minimum a 7 out of 10 in that group, interchangeably with the guys we mentioned. If you want to be a top 5 team like we're predicted. But the thing about Roos, and I'll say this and I'll give it back to you. The thing about him that jumped off the screen last year as a freshman is you cannot succeed in basketball if you don't take your conditioning seriously. And I don't know if it was just him, but he kind of got better and more athletic and quicker and stronger as the season went. And mind you, other guys did too. I think that has a lot to do with our strength coach. Coach Eli. But I just in the clips that I've seen in the offseason, Kenai Roos looks like he's running up and down the floor a little bit quicker. He looks a little bit bulkier. Looks like a kid that takes his conditioning very seriously. And it's kind of reminiscent of not really a Rick Pitino, even though they were very well conditioned. Maybe like a early 80s to mid 80s Denny Crum teams. Like, look at Daryl Griffith and all of the work. This is before social media, before video games really took off and stuff like that. Before people watched TV all the time and did podcasts like this. Like, kids just stayed in the gym, and it kind of looks like K9 stays in the gym and does what's asked of him. And I think he has his own expectations for himself, and I think it kind of shows.
Yeah, I think that if there's anybody returning wise that could surprise us, I think it's Kenai. I think a lot of the other returners, really all of the guys that are returning, Javon Hadley, Case Pryor, different guys like that, Kobe Rogers. We kind of know, I guess Kobe Rogers and Ali Khalifa to a lesser extent because they were injured, but they're more seasoned veterans. We kind of know where they're at in their growth and in their game and what they're going to bring to the table. If there's anyone on this team that I think could surprise people, it is Kenai Roos. I don't, it's not 100% guaranteed that it's going to happen. I don't even know if it's the most likely outcome that he's going to have this second year breakout. But if there is anyone, the athleticism that he has, the confidence that he has, it is him. It is him that could step up in a major way. And I think one interesting thing with Kenai is the opportunity that I think he's going to have at the beginning of the season with Kaysen coming back from injury. We've seen varying reports whether Kaysen will be ready for game one, or obviously he probably won't be starting. He won't be playing 25 minutes a game. So no matter where he is in his progression or in his rehabilitation from the injury, Kanai's going to get more minutes than he probably would if Kaysen was fully healthy. So I think the very beginning of the season for Kenai is going to be huge because I think he's got an opportunity to start at the 4.
Dude,
I don't know if it'll happen.
wow.
I could see it being Michael, Isaac McNeely, Ryan Conwell, Javon, and Sonny. But I think there is an opportunity for Kenai to start at the 4. And if he plays incredibly well, if he balls out, he may never lose that spot. And Kaysen may become a 15, 20 minute per game kind of guy instead of the 25, 30 minute per game guy that we saw last season. Do you think there's high likelihood of that? Any likelihood of that at all? What do you think when it comes to the second year breakout for Kenai?
Dude, Jake, anybody watching this right now is like standing up and cheering because I think so many people. Oh, hey, Roman. Roman!
What's going on, fellas? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Haircut, bro.
Yeah, I gotta go grab a haircut.
Look, dude, I swear to God, we just started talking about Kenai Roos, and it came to me, and I started rambling about a bunch of dumb shit. And then I thought to myself, and I said this right here on the pod, I said, if Roman was here, this is his guy, I probably wouldn't say much. I would just kick it over to him because Kenai Roos is his guy. Jake, would you ask the same question you just asked me to Roman and see what he says? Because I would love to hear this. I would love to hear this.
Yeah, absolutely. Roman, so we were talking about Kenai Roos and this potential of a second year breakout, and particularly early on in the season with Kaysen Pryor coming back from a torn ACL. We don't know if he's going to be available at the very beginning of the season, or if he is, he's playing limited minutes. So I see there being a chance for Kenai to start at that 4 spot to begin the year. And if he plays super well and he balls out in those first 5-6 games, it may be his spot and no one else can take it from him. Do you see that being a possibility at all? Or do you think this is just another 10 to 15 minute kind of season for Kenai?
I'm definitely don't see it being a 10 to 15 minute kind of a season. It's tough to gauge just how much of I think there's a clear jump that's been made. Even if it's only mentally, he's clearly even more bought in, even more in tune with being a part of the culture, right? That's the first thing of all I've seen throughout nitpicking on videos and such, right? We've heard about the 7-inch height addition, right? So we know he's 7'3" now. That's the first. That's a big, jump in your sophomore season to go from 6'8" to 7'4". It's not everyone can really do that. I'm just kidding, obviously, fellas. But here's my only thing. I think exactly what you just said. He's growing more into his body. He's getting stronger, right? The ball handling at his size is already, pretty elite for a 6'8", 6'9", 6'10" kind of a guy. The shooting, if he can get the jumper right, Jake, if the jumper can get right, we see him hit him in practice. We heard about him. We saw it in his high school tape. Fluid jumpers, not having to step into him, catching it perfectly in the shooter's pocket, right? You saw him hit him in the regular season when he had all day to think about it. It's a big shot, kind of a moment. He has to step into it and kind of has to go a little bit too slow. You saw him changing things in the jumper when it wasn't a fluid in motion within the rhythm of the offense kind of a jump shot. If he's gotten able to work into that fluidity and feel that fluidity within the offense, which, if I'm being honest, fellas, I haven't wanted to say this, but players like Kenai, maybe it's because he was the young guy who's really one of a kind in what we were as a personnel last year, right? That we didn't have a player that could play multiple positions at his size, who's willing to stretch the floor, but can also be in the dunker's role, Didn't really have that once Kaysen went down. The defensive stuff and the ball watching stuff had to improve, but somebody like Chucky, who has to have the ball in his hands when our offense looked the way it did last year, he had to create everything. We're going to have so much more ball movement. I know that's going to sound crazy when it seems like we shared the ball a lot because we had a lot of assists. We had a lot of guys getting 4 and 5 assists, and we did. The ball was kind of getting shared with the same exact guys in the same exact kinds of moments, This is going to be a totally different offense where a lot of guys are going to touch it every single possession. And in transition, one guy's going to get it. He's going to have the green light more times than not to either take it to the basket or take the shot because of how fast and how many possessions we're going to get. This is going to be perfect for Kenai Roos, right? You saw it before Kaysen went down, those highlight moments in transition, right? Him getting out on the break, getting those dunks, getting those finishes, and a couple of times he got to see that in the beginning of the season when we didn't have to put such an emphasis on what the role is for each player out there in the minutes they're out there once we had to deal with our injuries, right? So this is molding for him to be whatever we need to adjust in our offense. Kenai is kind of the guy that you're going to be able to point to with whatever it is. If we need to do more of this, Kenai can help with that. If we need to do a little bit more of this, Kenai can also help with that. Whether that's stretching the floor, offering more size as an offensive presence, offensive glass. We kind of have the roster to attack the offensive glass this year, fellas, which we didn't really get to do once we had our injuries right here. That screams Kenai Roos to me. So to answer your question fully, Jake, while I don't think it's going to be an immediate thing, just because I think Javon Hadley really has put himself into that vocal leader role, and that senior presence. Like everybody knows Javon's the old guy in the team that knows exactly what's going on, knows what's being asked, knows what's happening, knows how we're supposed to respond to that. I think it's tough to not put him in that role to start the season, but I think what you just described, Kenai is going to quickly go into that or spend a lot of time in that 4-spot role when we're playing that small ball lineup where we're trying to have 4 shooters, 5 shooters on the floor. I think you're going to see a lot of Kenai Roos minutes at the 4 with Ali Khalifa minutes at the 5. And I think that's going to be a lot more minutes per game of that happening than people are maybe anticipating. But then again, there's also no way to be certain on that. That's going based off what I've seen from footage and what I've heard from people involved around the team say and write. So, yes, he's, in my opinion, if you ask me who the potentials to be the biggest X factors on this team next season, I've got 3 players. Number 1, Sonny Frew. I think that's like, if he's the best case scenario for what he can be, that puts our ceiling higher than what I think any other player. If the best case scenario for every other player, I don't think it changes the ceiling as much as it changes with Sonny Frew. I think that if we get the best capable player of his body type with his skill set, and that translates to an elite level in the ACC, because it was at an elite level over there. If he can be elite over here, not just average over here, this team, I mean, I can't even realistically put into words what this team could be able to achieve. That's number 1. Number 2, fellas, it's Kenai Roos. He's right there in the number 2 most important potential X factor for this team because of what he can do for our versatility. Number 3, if you maybe put it on there, I would say is Adrian Woolley. I think if Adrian Woolley is able to do what he just did at Kennesaw State at Louisville, and he doesn't miss a beat in terms of being guarded by ACC guys and having to play at the ACC level of strength and pace, then that's actually the best set of guards in the country, in my opinion, and there's no debate about it. If he can do what he did there at this ACC level, you can't even argue it at that point. So that's kind of where I'm at with him, because I can't make that my expect. I can't 16 points per game in the ACC after only playing at Kennesaw State. I can't make that my expectation. But him playing at a high level, playing within the offense, right, and knowing where his role is and being able to improve throughout the season, that's kind of what my expectation is with him. So if he exceeds that, that means he's probably averaging double digits and is one of the more important players on this team. And that kind of him being the best case scenario is like there's a wide margin for I think what the expectation on Adrian Woolley can be. So I'm not going to be disappointed if he's just a role player either, right? Because he's young, he's going to be learning, and he's going to be in a new system and having to do a lot of different things than what he just did last year. So you can't expect him to go crazy here, but he also has the skill set to go crazy in a Pat Kelsey offense. So I'm kind of like, he's very important as well, I think. But Sonny Frew and Kenai Roos, fellas, I think those are the 2 biggest, the potential to make this team be really good or one of the best.
Yeah. One of the things that – sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. No. I was going to kick it to you and see if you had anything else on Kanai before we moved on to the rest of the forwards and wings.
Not on Kanai. I was going to go ahead and turn the page just a little bit, just because I was this close to just turning the page a little bit when Roman jumped in here. I was going to turn it to kind of like my sleeper with the not, he's not a wing. So with our forwards, and this guy I think can play the 5 too, but I think they'll use him a lot at the 4 while Case and Pryor gets healthy. Is Mo Kamara, and Mo is sort of the player that I've been not big on, but he's the player that anytime somebody wants a wild reaction from me or a crazy prediction, and I've said this like 5 or 6 podcasts ago with Presley, and I said my prediction for the offseason, crazy prediction, whatever you call it, hot take, whatever, of the offseason, is that Mo Kamara is going to start a game. He was going to start at least a game or 2. Like, if there was an over-under 0.5, I would take the over. And I say that with Kaysen coming back, with how sneaky athletic he is. He can shoot the rock if you need him to. He's great in transition. He's kind of crafty with the ball for a big guy, like downhill in the open floor, which we don't. I mean, Kaysen, you have that a little. Obviously, you have that a little bit, given the Indiana slam last year. Like, he's great for a trailer. But I think Mo could get it. He could get it and facilitate from half court and on. Not to say he's going to make a crazy, Jason Williams dish or anything like that in the lane, but you can kind of give it to him and let him – just kind of Greek freak it, like all the way through the lane, because he is kind of like, he's long and he is like more athletic than we give him credit for. And he's a lot quicker than we give him credit for. So he's kind of the one that I'm like sneakily and maybe a little bit hesitantly to say he's going to like break out this year, but
I like this, Alan. I like this a lot.
This is my sneaky guy, because
can I add a sneaky bold take on top of that?
Absolutely. And let's
best
all do
defender on the team.
Bold takes. Okay.
Best defender on the team, Mo Kamara. Calling it right now.
All right. Yes.
And I think you're completely right, Alan. I think you're completely right. I mean, his speed, size, strength, like he's going to be getting a lot of those long rebounds. Like when he's going to be able to create transitions with his athleticism. If the ball handling can be one that you allow him to be a decision, like you're confident in his decision making ability. If he does get that rebounding, it's like, Mo, you get it and go. Everybody, if you see Mo get it, go. That's going to be someone that you have to play him at that point when he's going to be maybe your most athletic guy.
Yeah.
I don't, starting a game, I don't know what the skill set looks like over a full game period of time in the half court offense, but in the transition game, I think he's going to remind us a lot of a freshman Kanai in the transition game.
Yeah. If you need a spark or something like that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Come in out of nowhere, backdoor steal, some
Yeah.
crazy deflection that you don't think he's going to be able to get. I also think he's going to be like, how the hell did he just block that catch and shoot 3-pointer when his right foot was just on the block? Like he's got that kind of athleticism.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of the defense, 5.3 stocks in his last season with the NBA Academy of Africa. So that's 2.8 steals plus 2.5 blocks per game. So if there's a reason why Mo Kamara is on the court, it is because of the defense, the defensive versatility. He should be able to guard 2 through 4. Always be a threat in transition. Like you all said,
Jake.
Half court offense.
Say it, Jake. 1 through 5. He's guarding 1 through 5. Just let the listeners know.
I could see 1. The small frame scares me about 5, but I'm confident in saying 2 through 4 right now. I'll say 1.5 to 4.5. We'll meet in the middle. But he has shown flashes of a 3-point shot. But
he was at the Cole Sherman basketball camp. Cole Sherman basketball camp. He was there. He was one of the guys. I was there. I was doing the emceeing. He was there being like one of the coaches at the stations that they're due. He's hitting fadeaway threes over and over and over in the corner, and before and after the drill started at the camp. He's a shooter. He's a sneaky shooter.
And mind
inside info from Roman Kelly.
Yeah, and I saw that you did that, Roman. I think that's cool that they asked you to do that. Great voice, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
It's literally the only. It's not the only reason that you're on the podcast, but it is a great voice. It's a golden voice. But one of the things that about this forward group, and I wasn't sure if Jake was getting ready to steer this into another direction. You never know with Jake, but I wanted to have my old man rant real quick. All right, so in this forward group, the 3 guys that we consider forwards outside of Javon Hadley that we have discussed is Kenai Roos. We haven't discussed Kason Pryor, but just a little bit. Kason Pryor and Mo Kamara so far. Number 7, number 9, and number 12. All right. My old man take is this: number 7 and number 9 are okay if you want to wear those numbers, but I don't really like players wearing numbers above 5 where the referee has to motion and do. This is number 7. No, this is either number 52 or another 25. Okay. And Mo Kamara, when they asked him why he picked number 12, he was like, it was available. Absolute dog, right? He doesn't give a fuck what number he's wearing.
Doesn't matter.
He's out there to play ball. So, like, no offense, Noah Waterman, but number 93, if your name's not Dennis Rodman, you don't get to wear that shit, right? Like, that's for crazy people. So if you're not crazy, you don't get to wear that. All right, I'm finished. That's it. That's all.
Noah was a little crazy. He's Mormon crazy.
Yeah.
Final thing before we move on from Mo Kamara and go to our last forward/wing. For people that have not had an opportunity to see him, because it is hard. We haven't all been able to be at the camps and see him hitting fadeaway corner threes, Roman. It is hard to find footage on Mo Kamara. And in the games that he plays against, it's NBA Academy Africa, so it's not the greatest competition. It's not the EYBL. It's not anything like that. Yeah, it's very up and down. So player comps, I think that's always a great way to help people visualize and kind of understand who these guys could be, will be, or have a potential to show out. Like mine is an easy one for the fans. Abubakar Traore, but he's already got a jumper. Phenomenal in transition, both great defenders. Passing, I don't think is as great as Abubakar was, but similar lengths. I know Abubakar was only 6'5", but very long. He is 6'7". I think that if there's Louisville fans listening that don't have a clue about Kamara, he's a little bit worse on the defensive end probably, and in a passing standpoint, but a better shooter than Abubakar Traore. I think their games are really similar. Are there any similarities to any other players that the listeners might be familiar with?
I haven't had a chance to do this. I have no. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Roman, do you have anything? Any of the listeners in the comments, if you have any comparisons, please, we're happy.
No,
to
that's a great comparison there. Just picture Abubakar, but on the offensive end, he plays a little bit more. I don't know how to say this. Like he's taken up more of a presence on the floor with his size, right? Abubakar played way bigger than he is. I think Kamara is a lot better finisher at the rim. Like Abubakar was a good finisher. I think Abubakar also just missed time stuff. Like he would be more open than he planned to, was preparing for contact and wouldn't actually get in and have to, get his own rebound, put it back up, little stuff like that. I think like Kamara's just a tier above with his athleticism, just a tier above, but really the same kind of players, guys that if they're on the floor and it's in transition, you're going to get them the ball because they will get to the rim.
Yeah, I mean, and before we jump off him, he's just one of those, like, there's going to be a couple games that you laugh at your TV screen, or if you're at the game, you're going to, like crack up laughing at, like, some goofy-ass move that he puts on. Because he's just, like, he's the kind of guy that is used to playing with pace, and he's used to putting on, like, in the lane, you might get, like, a fake spin and then a up and under. Like, he does stuff like that. The tape that I saw, like Jake was saying, is all of NBA Africa, and then that 1-3 that U of L was nice enough to clip up for us, so we could be like, oh, for sure. So in these runs with this top 5 team in the scrimmages, he's hitting threes. Okay, that's good. I needed to see that, right?
Yeah, the fact that he's shooting them, that's a good sign.
Yeah, like it's gonna be like comedy. There's gonna be a couple things he does like that are just kind of funny. Like you're gonna be like, dude, what the? How did he? Hey, man, yeah, So I'm looking forward to it. He's a player that I really like. I don't have a favorite player yet, but he's in the running, and I'll have to see how he starts out.
Yep, and final thing before we move on, Russell did say Dang and Dell maybe-ish. I could see it. A lot of those NBA Africa guys do play similarly. It's all heavy defense, heavy transition, limited focus on half-court creation and jump shooting. So, yeah, I could definitely see the Dang and Dell comparison. For the last guy that we have, there are some wings or forwards that you could consider in here. You could add in Kaysen. I think you could even add in Ryan Conwell, but we're saving those for other discussion points. It's the tried and true. It's the 6th-year senior, I think, at this point. It's at least 5 years. It's Javon Hadley. We saw what he could do last year. He played the 3. played the 4. He played the 5. He was incredible. He was everything, and I think even too much of was asked of him last year for Hadley. I'm excited to have him back. I think he's a great leader. He's a glue guy. He'll be able to do anything that is asked of him. Do we see Javon Hadley playing in that same role that he was last year, starting at the 3, the 4, the 5, being a big man, being a facilitator, being a creator? Or do we think that he kind of slips back more into a tertiary role like he was his last season in Colorado?
Go ahead, Alan.
Yeah, well, okay. For me, like I think there's going to be some grind out games where you need Javon Hadley to assume that role. I don't think you can, like, when a player does something, like take like my stepson or some of the players that he plays with at Butler, right? Like sometimes like you have a player that just does this, maybe he does this and this too, but he does this really well, right? And there's a couple players that do, post up, like they're taller guards, maybe wings that post up and kind of survey the court very well. One thing about Javon is he can draw defenders, off of people. He might be able to make you respect that back down in a game like against a physical team like Clemson. And I keep bringing up Clemson and Duke because those are the two of the more physical games that I remember last year, conference games anyway. I kind of, delved into a little bit of some of the non-con a week or so ago of who we're playing. And yesterday there was a player from Montana that spoke about how teams are ducking Montana. So I kind of went into Montana clips and stuff like that. This is just like 2 hours ago. I was looking at it. They play a little physical. They might they might take away your pace, like teams like that, and make you go through a guy like Javon Hadley. Not saying it'll just be Javon Hadley and, if he can't do it, we're screwed, But they might make you prove that you're not, one-dimensional in that way. And so that's when, Javon is just such a great, point wing or point forward, whatever you call it. And obviously he's not a true wing. And that's why he's listed at guard, in many instances. So I definitely think we'll see that side of Javon Hadley, or at least that phase of Javon Hadley more than a few times this year. I don't think he's just going to completely transform into a kid that likes to run and shoot and dunk only. I think it's important that he is that player, in a few games this year.
I'm right there with you, Alan. I'll even go to say that, like, I think it'll be quite literally based on the opponent, Jake. I think against the SMUs of the world, when we're playing up tempo, like the teams that also want to get up and down with us, like the Pittsburghs of the world, right? When they want to run with us, you're going to see Colorado Javon Hadley. You're going to see a player catch, pump fake, get to the rim, and one. Catch, shoot, sidestep, 3, right? He's got all that in his game. You're going to see screen, pick and pops against teams like that when we have to slow down in the half court in those fast-paced games. As soon as we're playing the Dukes, the NC States of the world that want to, stretch things out, use their physical advantages, put a forearm up on us, and play literally harder, you're going to see Javon Hadley. He's going to be exactly like Alan just said. We're going to play through Javon. I think he'll be our go-to scorer in those kind of games where the size advantage, we need somebody that can literally we struggle. Like maybe early in the season, we kind of struggle. I felt like early in the season, we had a couple games we struggled to fight through contact at the rim. We weren't, Tennessee obviously was a slap in the face of that. And then a couple opponents after that not everybody was really prepared for getting to the rim and what that meant to be a team that had to finish inside. Chucky and Terrence, I think, feel like once they learned that when they get inside the rim, like nothing's coming easy. And then you saw them change the mentality about what they were as basketball players once they got into that paint. But I think that when you have those teams that are going to try to basically put the refs, push the limit and play just as hard as they can, and there's going to be a lot more foul kinds of games and slow down offensive plays, you're going to see Javon turn into that Swiss Army knife again, where he's a creator from the dribble, he's a creator from the block, he's a screener, he's a roller, he's a roll man who you give it to and he passes it, because he can be a great passer in this offense that we've already seen. Did he have a triple-double last year?
I don't know. If you keep talking, I can figure it out for you.
I know he had a 30-point game.
I know he had 30. Yeah, he had the 30. Yep.
And I think he had 10 rebounds in that game.
I don't know if his assist ever got high enough.
I don't know. I don't think it did. I think he just had a 30-10 game and maybe another 20-10 game. And I'm thinking I saw another 10.
Yeah.
I think I'm probably just putting another 10.
We know that he can rebound, and we know that, that like I was telling somebody like last year I made not like a tons of money, but on his 12-7 combo, like 12.7 rebounds. That was like the Javon Hadley special last year, and like I would just bet it, and like the sports books only figured it out for like 2 weeks. And then they like kicked it down. Everybody stopped, or they kicked the odds up or whatever. They kicked whatever to make it to where it wasn't worth it. That 12-7 combo. And it's like, all right, I quit betting it. And like a couple weeks later, like after he didn't get the 12-7, they kicked it back up to what it was. So that was kind of like
I was on the 10-8. I was on the 10-8
yeah,
heavy.
yeah. So recognize game, and so like the odds would be about the same with that. We're not here to talk about gambling yet, anyway. Until the season starts, I might drop a few of those in picks or whatever. It just depends. I don't even know if Jacob and Presley want to go that route. We're just kind of going, like we're just kind of doing spur of the moment stuff. But Jake, I really actually wanted to hear because Javon Hadley is somebody that you watch a lot of film, right? You watch a lot of these kids coming in, like some of the guys that Pat Kelsey's going after, the more physical guys. Maybe someone that he's whiffed on, Tyron Stokes. Not comparing Tyron Stokes to Javon Hadley, but some of the more physical, bigger guards that he likes. Do you think Javon Hadley? Do you think Pat's going to lean on him to be more physical, or do you think this is going to be? Do you think Pat needs him to be athletic? Am I totally wrong in this take?
Yeah, I mean, I think last year he had to lean on him to be physical. He was truly, I mean, you saw in games against Tennessee and games against Ole Miss and games against Duke, he was one of a few guys that I think you saw not shy away from physicality and not really see his game deteriorate whenever guys are in his face and getting bumped. So, yeah, I think we'll see that again this year. I'm hoping he won't be the only guy. I mean, now that we've got bigs like Ali Khalifa and Sonny and Kaysen back, hoping there will be more guys. Ryan Conwell especially is very, very strong. Isaac Manili. I think he won't be the only one that's going to be tough when it gets tough. But yeah, he'll never lose that. I think the thing I'm most excited about with Javon is I think the raw numbers will go down. I don't think we'll see him average 12 and 7 again like he did last year. I think it'll be more of that maybe 9 and 6, 9 and 7 kind of thing. I just don't think he's going to play 33 minutes like he was asked to last year. But I think the efficiency is going to be so much higher. I mean, he was asked, in my opinion, to just do a little bit more than he was comfortable with. He could make it work and still be a positive player, but that's just not, in my mind, where his game is. He is, like Roman said, the Swiss Army knife that can come in and make an extra pass, hit the open shot when he's wide open, get the offensive rebound, keep his possession going. He is not as much the guy that you give the ball with 8 seconds left in the shot clock and go create your own shot or throw it to him in the post and hit a hook shot. He can do those things, but I don't think that's what he truly excels at. And so I'm excited to see him become the best version of himself and the most effective player for this team now that not as much responsibility will be thrown at him.
So we brought Sonny Frew in, fellas. We brought Sonny Frew in to go be that presence down low for us and do the dirty work down there on the offensive end when we need somebody to. This offense is going to need even less of that. It's funny, like we needed that more from James Scott last year, and we didn't really get it. He was really only a lob threat. He kind of started to pick up some things in the high post screen handoff role a little bit. He started to finally get it. You saw those high post assists to the backdoor cutters when it occasionally came, right? But he couldn't create for us down there when it was one of those, hey, the guards are getting defended well this game. The shots aren't going down like we need them to. We're getting defended one-on-one down low. And all we've got is Noah Waterman and an undersized Javon Hadley, and that's not the case this year. We've got an Ali Khalifa who can pull those bigs out now. We've got a Sonny Frew who is a grown man. It's a grown pro basketball player who's not going to be going up against a lot of guys that are going to be something he hasn't seen before physically. Maybe skill-wise, yeah, we'll get there. But physically, we've got that presence now. Javon Hadley shouldn't have to do as much of that, God forbid, if injuries prevail for us. So, but we need also Kaysen Pryor to get healthy too. As soon as Kaysen Pryor is back fully right, there should be even less of a need for Javon to go do that low post stuff when we've got somebody who can play in and out like Kaysen.
Yeah. And speaking of Frew, and I know, Jake, you're probably about to get to this, but did you guys happen to see the Twitter post? Literally, Kevin Keatts, former Louisville assistant under Rick Pitino, NC State coach that went to the Final Four with that great team he had. Kevin Keatts, from his own personal Twitter account, tweeted about Louisville. Apparently, he stopped in practice today. Did you guys see that at all?
I did.
Did you see that tweet?
He's been going to EKU. He's starting to go a bunch of different places.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, one of the things that stood out to me, a bunch of shit stood out to me about this, but one of the things that really stood out to me about his, and like, I respect his opinion. So when I'm reading these things, I'm like reading it like a child when being read like Where the Wild Things Are for the first time. Like, I was mesmerized by this. Um, but one of the things that stood out was his take on best defenders and biggest surprise on the team. And he said Sananda Frew fit in both of those categories. So yeah, that's great. You pulled it up right now. So like to me, if I'm a Louisville fan, speaking of Sonny Frew, and the biggest surprises are the two foreign guys, but two of the foreign guys that you were kind of like, oh, who are these guys? Especially Zugris, but he had Sananda Frew, Sonny Frew as on there with defense, which a lot of people were throwing shade his way. They were saying, oh, well, like he's kind of like flat-footed when he jumps, or he can't defend. He's not going to be able to block that way in this league. He's not going to be able to move. That's a different league over there in Germany where he's playing. I think when Kevin Keatts says the three best defenders, and honestly, I'm kind of surprised there were a couple names not listed and a couple names listed instead. But when Sananda Frew is on your best defenders list and biggest surprise list, from Kevin Keatts saying that, like that speaks volumes. If I'm him, and he may not know who Kevin Keatts is, but if he figures it out, if he goes home and looks up who this guy is, somebody tells him who this guy is, like that is a huge, huge like ribbon on your chest, right? That is a badge of honor, right? You know what I mean? Like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is really
100%.
cool. I haven't gotten to see this.
Dude, this is
Love that we've got this many leaders. The fact that Adrian Woolley, I mean, we knew this about Kobe Rogers, but Adrian Woolley and Sonny Frew getting that kind of shouts defensively is very, very, very good to hear from somebody like Kevin Keatts, who knows what it takes defensively to play at this level for sure. Um, I love this. I mean, I love this.
And my only question, and this just popped in my head, but like, did he give everybody a participation trophy, or are there some people that were not listed on this? I'm not saying if you weren't listed, like I know Mo Kamara falls into that category. Is there
We
anybody
don't
else
have
that?
a Mo Kamara shout. We don't have a Case and Pryor shout.
Yeah, you're not
No,
getting
We
we
a
don't
don't.
case.
have no
No Wooly.
walk-ons,
Or yeah, no,
obviously.
There is
no.
a
There's
Wooly
Wooly.
on
Never mind.
defender.
Yeah, I was wrong.
Wooly
I think that's
defender.
it.
So like, I just wondered about that, and I'm gonna continue. I'm gonna keep an eye on if he goes to Duke, if he goes to like I hope he does so many teams. Like I'm gonna nerd out on this shit right here. He's so at the top. There you go with EKU. But at the top of his most consistent players, he had Ryan Conwell, Michael Brown Jr., and Javon Hadley. For leadership, he had Isaac McNeely, Ali Khalifa, Kobe Rogers, Ryan Conwell, and Javon Hadley. So Ryan Conwell and Javon Hadley showing up with most consistent and I guess best leader on the team. That's huge because, and actually he listed like four starters in those two categories right there. The only starter that wasn't listed was projected starter was Sonny Frew, who was listed in the other two. So I think also like it kind of gives me an idea, rounds out of who's probably going to start out the gate. Not that it matters for the entire year, but just I could nerd out on this shit and I could analyze this for hours.
What do we think of Adrian Woolley and Kobe Rogers being the best defenders? That's two guards, fellas. I mean, obviously we know Ryan Conwell can hold his own. Isaac McNeely, if it's not, he doesn't have the most speed, we'll say, as a lateral defender, but he has all the strength in the world to play with the kind of ball handlers that like to use their bodies and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, if Adrian Woolley and Kobe Rogers are the best two defenders, according to Keith, that's two guys that are going to play a lot more minutes than I feel like a lot of people think.
Yeah. Oh my
Because
God.
I mean, Mike Hill's going to have to learn. That's going to be the biggest aspect of the start of his season is going to be learning how to defend at this level without fouling.
Yeah. Yeah. He got, like, yeah, in at the level he was playing where it was just a lot of offense and a lot of tons of athleticism. He got blown by a few times. I'm interested the same way you are to see if he can stay in front of his guy and stay, a lot of that is going to be, taking his conditioning seriously, on leg day and stuff like that.
Yep.
I know I keep bringing up
Getting stronger.
Yeah. Jake, you have that circle at the bottom. I don't have my glasses on. What does that say? word for word. I didn't see that part earlier for whatever reason.
Yeah, so that is
Can't
Keatts'
see it.
evaluation. It says a very talented team with depth and elite shooting, a unique blend of veterans and youth that can score in bunches. Michael Brown is special. They have size and length at every position and a strong culture built on energy and effort.
So, okay, a lot of coach speak there, but I like the depth and elite shooting. Obviously, we knew the depth part. The elite shooting, it's nice to hear that over and over and over. Can score in bunches. It's really nice to hear that because a lot of other people are saying Louisville is probably going to be one of the highest scoring teams in the country. Just several lists. I think we're on a sleepers media list of highest scoring, and a lot of UK fans got their panties in a wad about it. I'm like, kid, it's not just us, right? These are like potentially future Hall of Fame coaches saying the same thing in our practices. Energy and effort. I don't know what that part was, but I heard you say energy and effort as well as I'm sitting here jotting this down. Love to hear that. Love to hear, effort for one. Energy, obviously, we knew was there. Let's see. Yeah, but I do have this stuff written down from earlier, but to me, and I'll go back to this, the two surprises are Zugris and Frew. I think, like, dude, for whatever reason, just washes over me like a full body massage of relief, right? Because like I really need those two to be better than I thought they were going to be when I first heard their names mentioned. And I know like Frew's gaining a lot of traction. Zugris, we see he's going to fight somebody in practice and stuff, and we're like, he may be like for energy purposes awesome. I have no idea, if he can contribute at a high level, but it is so nice to hear that with those two, and I hope they gel together on the team because those guys just kind of got shipped over here. I say that it didn't just get shipped over here, but they just kind of came over here and now they're in America and they just have to live. Like I'm trying to think about how that must be. Same thing with Mo Kamara, but like hopefully like that this could be something that they can gel on the floor and really like in tough times, like when we get into tough times, tough situations, hopefully they can band together and like bring us out of it.
Yeah, I think Vangelis Zugris and Sananda Frew are going to be two pieces that surprise a lot of people that haven't paid attention to Louisville in the offseason, particularly Zugris. I think that level of effort, that level of strength, physicality, ability to finish on the inside is probably unmatched by anyone else in the team, and I think that's something that Pat Kelsey is going to have a hard time keeping off of the floor.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I was going to do, I clicked on the wrong thing. I was going to see because you said, was it just like a little participation trophy? Did everybody get something?
Except for
I
Mo
was looking
Kamara.
down at yeah, except for Mo Kamara. I looked down at EKU's. They've only got 1, 2, 3, 4. They've only got 5 guys listed. So it doesn't seem like he's always just listing every single player on your team. So that is a good thing to see.
And that's another
Roman,
thing that we keep hearing. Like last week, was it Jeff Goodman? I think it was Jeff Goodman that the Field of 68 was in town, and they said a lot of players are just going to play 7 or 8. Or a lot of coaches say they're going to play 11 or 12 guys, but they only play 7 or 8 at the end of the day. And then he's paused for a second, and he said, except for Pat Kelsey. And when he said that, I was like, whatever. He's PK's friend. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? That is kind of a pump and sunshine because Goodman was the one that called, hey, I think Louisville's getting Pat Kelsey. And like I was kind of pissed when I first heard that last January or whatever it was. But hearing that from him and then seeing hearing that from Kevin, or seeing like that everybody's kind of getting a mention or whatnot, kind of shows you that it's kind of a all hands on deck kind of thing, which is again, that's great to hear. It makes me feel really good about myself and my life.
Yeah, absolutely. Roman, is there anything else that stuck out to you before we move on from this Kevin Keatts practice report?
Not really. Just the fact that Vangelis is doing enough out there and is out there enough with different units to even be a big surprise. That's
Right.
a great sign. I want to have depth in the front court. We had a team last year that, in my eyes, if we had depth at the front court, would have went further, would have achieved more. Let me just say that. Maybe wins more and gives himself more of a spot to even not have to avoid what happened there at the end, right? We didn't have that depth last year. We didn't have that versatility at all defensively or offensively at all in our front court. And now we do, guys, and I love it. We've got 3 different types of a big man and a fourth one who's coming off of an injury, and he might be the best player on the team. and he's kind of a hybrid big man. So I'm really really excited for the fact that Van Glazukis and Sonny Frew are seeming like they're really ready to play at this level.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and last thing before we head out of here, that is the three wings and forwards that we plan to cover. If you missed anything, you want to go back after this live episode is done. Started with Kenai Roots, moved on to Mo Kamara, and then ended with Javon Hadley. Final thing, Presley asked an interesting question, and I think Anthony gave my answer already, so I'll go ahead and start. He asked, you can add one current Louisville football player to this basketball team. Who are you choosing? First name that instantly popped into my mind was Jalil Skinner, 6'6", I believe, largest, seems like most athletic dude that not most athletic dude, but most athletic large dude that we have on the team. I think, speaking of wings and forwards, he could go right into this breakdown. Is there anybody else that you see on the football field that you're like, give it a try on the hardwood?
I bet you like Nate Kariski or one of our tight ends is like super really good at basketball and was like some state champion and we just don't know it because they never played after high school. But Jalil Skinner's the answer. I mean, Chris Bell, yeah, he's probably jumping the highest. He's probably jumping the highest out of the gym on a lot of different floors. But Jalil Skinner, I think, he fits right in.
Yeah,
lob threat, shooter. Might play a little bit slow, but plays that big guard kind of a role, I bet.
No, I mean, we'll collectively say Skinner. You know, Louisville's had a history in the past of having guys that played football that were really good at basketball in high school and just chose football. Probably the greatest example is Malik Cunningham and Marshawn Ford. Like Malik Cunningham, I think was like all-state and like won, like he was like runner-up MVP, state champion in Alabama when he was in high school, and just chose to play. Wanted to play played safety and quarterback in high school. Wanted to play safety. Nick Saban would not let him play quarterback, or he wanted to play quarterback, but Nick Saban was like, "You are a safety. I want you to play safety." And he's like, "I don't want to play safety. I want to play quarterback." So he kind of went the Lamar professional route and was like, "I'm not playing safety." Lamar said, "Not playing receiver." I digress, but like I always think like, yeah, I mean Malik Cunningham's just one of those freak athletes that we had. I wouldn't be surprised if like if he stuck around. Like he had college offers, you know what I mean? Like he could have played.
Devontae Parker too, I thought.
Yeah, Devontae, Marshawn Ford. Yeah, like all those Ballard dudes, man. I swear, Ballard kids play both. They just do. So, Jordan Watkins, I think too, played for Butler. That might be maybe. I think he can just dunk. Actually, I think that's what that whole story was. Anyway, but yeah, we'll go with Skinner. It's fine. We'll take it. Yeah. It is football season, so that's fair. Yeah.
I got some sneaky ones. I'm scrolling through the roster as you all are talking. Redshirt freshman, offensive lineman Ransom McDermott, 6'8", 305. We'd probably have to trim him down a bit. But if you're talking about needing some more interior strength, I think Ransom.
Not on this team.
I think Ransom might be able to help a little bit. Yeah, I don't know about getting him up and down on the court, but
I need a Ransom pick and pop like I need air. I need a Ransom pick and pop now.
We have a 6'4" punter on the team too. That is just absurdly large for a special teams player.
Yeah, that might work.
Surely he played a couple positions in high school, right?
You would, yeah. I would imagine so.
Yeah, they made him play it, and they're like, "Oh, he can also punt very well." By the way, yeah.
Yeah, Carter Schwartz, 6'4", 225.
That's nice. Yeah, we like that. need to get
that
closer to 200.
Line
maybe,
up, go run a route, Carter.
Yeah. Like, wait a minute. Like, yeah.
What are you doing back there? Yeah, last guy, Dakar Collins.
Teams.
Isn't Dakar Collins really tall? Like 6'4", 6'5", wide receiver.
6'5".
Yeah. Okay.
He can jump too. Yeah. He's got hands as well. I bet you that's one that he like. There's no way Dakari's bad at basketball. There's just no way.
No. Yeah,
I would doubt it. All right, guys. Well, I think that will wrap it up. As long as you guys don't have anything else, feel free to interject if you do. But that was our forward/wing preview. We'll be back next week talking about bigs.
1 month.
1 month away.
Yeah.
Talking about bigs. So that'll be Kaysen. That'll be Ali, Sonny, Vangelis. I don't think I'm missing anybody. Am I missing anybody?
What are you doing?
No.
I don't think I am. All right, so that's all the bigs we got. So we'll come back
Oh,
with
the
you
bigs,
all
gotcha.
next week with the bigs. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for spending an hour with us. Appreciate it. Roman, have a great night. Al, have a great night. Go
Same to
Cards,
you.
and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Go Cards.
Yes, sir. Go Cards, baby. It's fire.